Good day, ma'am. I am going to discuss about item analysis. So what is item analysis? Item analysis is a process which examines student responses to individual test items questions in order to assess the quality of those items and of the test as a whole. Item analysis provides statistics on overall performance, test quality, and individual questions. This data helps you recognize questions that might be poor discriminators of student performance. It is used to improve questions for future tests. So there are two important characteristics of an item that will be of interest to the teacher. So these are item difficulty and discrimination index. We shall learn how to measure these characteristics and apply our knowledge in making a decision about the item in question. So, the item difficulty of an item or item difficulty is defined as the number of students who are able to answer the item correctly divided by the total number of students. So to compute the item difficulty, divide the number of the people answering the item correctly by the total number of people answering item. So item difficulty equals the number of students with correct answer divided by the total number of students. So example, what is the item difficulty index of an item if 25 students are unable to answer it correctly while 75 answered it correctly? So the total number of students is 100. So that item difficulty index is 75 over 100 or 75%. 75% got the correct answered and the difficulty of an item is usually denoted as percentage, according to Crocker and Algina 1986. So, one problem with this type of difficulty index is that it may not actually indicate that the item is difficult or easy. A student who does not know the subject matter will naturally be unable to answer the item correctly, even if the question is easy. How do we decide on the basis of this index whether the item is too difficult or too easy? The following arbitrary rule is often used in the literature. So range of difficulty, index, interpretation, and action. So 0 to 0.25, difficult, revise or discard. 0.26 to 0.75, write difficulty or retain. So 0.76 and above, easy, revise or discard. So, difficulty items tend to discriminate between those who know and those who do not know the answer. Conversely, easy items cannot discriminate between these two groups of students. In deriving a measure, it will tell us whether an item can discriminate between these two groups of students. So, such measure is called index of discrimination. So, an easy way how to derive such measure is to measure how difficult an item is with respect to those in upper 25 of the class and how difficult it is with respect those in the lower 25% of the class. If the upper 25% of the class found that the easy yet the lower 25 found it difficult, then the item can be discriminated properly between these two groups. Thus, index of discrimination equals to du minus dl. So example, obtain the index of discrimination of an item if the upper 25% of the class had difficulty index of 0.60. So example that our du is 60% of the upper got the correct answer, while the lower 25% of the class had difficulty of an index of 0.20. So, the value of du is 0.60 and the value of dl is 0.20. So, index of discrimination equals to 0.60 minus 0.20 is equals to 0.40. Okay, ito na. So, So the index of discrimination can range from negative 1.0 to 1.0. When the index of discrimination is equal to negative 1, then this means that all of the lower 25% of the students got the correct answer, while all of the upper 25% get the wrong answer. Such an index discriminates correctly between the two groups, but the item itself is highly questionable. So on the other hand, if index of discrimination is 1.0, then this means that all of the lower 25% failed to get the correct answer, while all of the upper 25% got the correct answer. So this is a perfectly discriminating item and is the ideal item that should be included in the test. As in the case of the index difficulty, we have the following rule of thumb. So, index range, interpretation action from negative 1.0 to negative 0.50 can discriminate, but item is questionable. It's discard. So, negative 0.55 minus 2 negative to negative 0.55 to 0.45 non-discriminating revise. Negative 4 negative. 0.46 to 1.0 discriminating item include. Example, consider a multiple choice type of test of which the following data were obtained. So, item number 1. So, item has a destructors. So, A, B, C, and D. So, so the correct response is B. Let us compute the difficulty index and index of discrimination. So those answered 40 is in B because the B is in this item. B is the correct answer. Got 40 students answered B, 20 C, 20 D, and 0 A. So how do we know if this question is good? Good item or not. So first, we're going to get the VU. So difficulty index is equals to the number of students getting correct response over total. So 40 got the correct answer over the total of 100. So the difficulty index is 40% with a range of good items. So to get the DU, number of students upper 25% with correct response divided by the number of students in the upper 25%. So 15% got the 15% number of students got 25% with the correct response. So 15 in the upper of 25% divided by the number of students in the upper 25%. So 15 divided 20 is equal to 0.75 or 75%. So to get the DL, number of students in lower 75% with correct response divided by the number of students in the lower 25%. So the number of students in lower 75% with correct response is 5 divided by the number of students in the lower 25% is 20. So 5 divided 20 is equals to 0.25 or 25%. So our formula is index of discrimination is equals to DU minus DL. So we have the value of DU and the DL. So the value of our DU is 0.75 or 75%. And the value of our DL is 25%, 0.25 or 25%. So the DU 0.75 minus 0.25 is equals to 0.50 or 50%. Thus, the item is also a good discriminating power. Discrimination index is computed from equal-sized high and low scoring groups on the test. Subtract the number of successes by the high group and divide this difference by the size of a group. So it is also instructive to note that the distractor A is not an effective distractor since this was never selected by the students. So distractors C and D appear to have good appeal in distractors. So basic item analysis statistics. Item analysis basic concepts. Item analysis is a technique which evaluates the effectiveness of items in tests. Two principal measures used in item analysis are item difficulty and item discrimination. This is measured by selecting two groups, high skills and low skill, based on the total test score. More sophisticated discrimination index. Index discrimination refers to the ability of an item to differentiate among students on the basis of how well they know the material being tested. A good item is one that has good discriminating ability and has a sufficient level of difficulty, not too difficult nor too easy. So next topic is validation, and this is Ivy Cumulative reporting. Stay safe, God bless, and thank you.